When light breaks in. What John 8:12 teaches us about leadership, clarity, and living on mission. There's a moment in the Gospel of John that feels like it should echo through boardrooms as much as sanctuaries. Jesus stands up in the temple, in front of religious leaders, curious crowds, and people looking for hope, and declares, "I am the light of the world. Whoever follows me will never walk in darkness, but will have the light of life." Now pause. Think about the audacity of that statement. Not "I have light," not "I'll show you light." Jesus says, "I am the light." If you're a leader, creator, parent, dreamer, or just someone trying to make sense of this beautiful, chaotic life, you should lean in. Because in this one verse is a framework for how to live with integrity, lead with vision, and build with purpose. Let's unpack it. The pillar in the wilderness. From chaos to clarity. To fully grasp what Jesus was doing here, we've got to zoom out. He was speaking during the Feast of Tabernacles, a Jewish festival that included the lighting of 4 giant lamps in the temple courtyard. These lamps symbolized the pillar of fire that guided the Israelites through the wilderness after they left Egypt. Jesus, standing beneath the glow of this tradition, basically says, "That light, that fire, that was me." This wasn't just theology. This was about navigation. Because let's be honest, life often feels like a wilderness. Twists, turns, sandstorms of uncertainty. And in business, that wilderness gets magnified. Maybe you've stood in a room full of people looking to you for answers you don't have, or sit in a strategy meeting where clarity is replaced by committee, or tried to lead a team through culture shifts, conflict, or crisis. What Jesus claims here is radical. If you follow me, you won't walk in darkness anymore. Not because the desert disappears, but because the fire shows up. The real enemy isn't darkness. It's wandering without light. Let's call it out. Darkness isn't just the absence of physical light. It's what happens when you don't know where you're going, why you're here, or who you really are. In personal life, darkness shows up as confusion, insecurity, comparison, and shame. In business, it surfaces as burnout, lack of vision, ethical compromise, and misaligned values. And here's the kicker. Most people aren't walking in darkness because they want to. They're walking in darkness because they're trying to find their way with their own flashlight. Jesus doesn't promise the absence of hard decisions. He doesn't say, "Follow me," and everything gets easy. What he offers is something far better. Presence, guidance, truth. Clarity isn't a strategy. It's a source. One of the biggest mistakes we make, especially as leaders, is assuming that clarity comes from systems, frameworks, or productivity hacks. But those are just tools. Clarity doesn't come from process. Clarity comes from light. And light, in Jesus' terms, isn't something you earn. It's something you follow. Which means the core of clarity isn't what you know. It's who you trust. The Greek word Jesus uses for follow is akolutheo, to go where someone else is going. It's relational. It's dynamic. It means surrendering your ego to a greater guide. In business terms, it's moving from self-reliance to mission alignment. In life terms, it's moving from fear to faith. So here's the challenge. Are you leading from borrowed light, or are you walking in the presence of the light himself? The dual nature of light. Illumination and exposure. Light is a gift, but it's also disruptive. Ever been in a dark room for a while, and someone flips the switch? It hurts. Your eyes squint. You want to look away. That's what happens when the light of Christ enters our lives or leadership. It doesn't just reveal the path ahead, it exposes what we've been hiding. Our pride, our shortcuts, our compromise, our self-sufficiency. This is where the emotional tension tightens. If you're truly following the light, things will surface. You'll face inconvenient truths. You'll confront parts of yourself you'd rather ignore. You'll stop blaming culture or clients or team dynamics and start asking better questions. Like, where have I been leading in the dark? What have I been building apart from truth? But here's the grace. Jesus doesn't expose to shame. He exposes to heal. Light is a lens, rethinking decision-making. Jesus says that his light helps us not only walk, but also see. In leadership, one of the most underestimated superpowers is discernment. Not just knowing the difference between right and wrong, but knowing the difference between right and almost right. Jesus gives you that lens. His light illuminates motives, timing, and direction. It allows you to make decisions not based on pressure or popularity, but on principle. So, whether you're building a brand, raising a family, launching a product, or healing from pain, here's what you need to know. The light of Christ is not situational. It's foundational. No condemnation, just commission. Romans 8:1 tells us, "There is now no condemnation for those who are in Christ Jesus." This is hug, because when you start walking in the light, the enemy will whisper, "You're too far gone. You should have figured this out by now. You don't belong in this room." But light doesn't condemn, it commissions. When Jesus says you'll have the light of life, he means he'll put it inside you. So you stop living reactionary. You stop chasing approval. You start becoming a living, breathing lamp for others. You start walking into meetings, parenting moments, difficult conversations, and dreams with a quiet, unshakable confidence. I am not in the dark. I know who walks with me. From inspiration to integration, next steps. You don't need more inspiration today. You need integration. So here are 3 questions to reflect on. Where in my life or work do I feel disoriented or stuck in the dark? Am I truly following the light of Christ or just asking him to bless my own path? What would it look like to lead, decide, and build from a place of light-filled clarity this week? And here's one action. Pick one decision you've been avoiding. Bring it into the light. Pray about it. Speak honestly about it. Move on it. Let the light lead you. Final thought. Jesus doesn't just give you a flashlight for the next step. He is the light for the whole journey. And when you walk in his light, you don't just find your way, you help others find theirs too. So, whether you're crafting content, leading teams, raising kids, or healing from a broken chapter, remember this. You're not meant to wander. You're called to follow. And where there is light, there is life.